You don't want to buy. You want to be saved. And every object you bring home is a silent monument to your unspoken hunger, a relic of the self you've abandoned. What no one told you is this: what you consume is consuming you. This is not about willpower, it's about noise. You were taught to desire like someone drowning, desperate, irrational, breathless. And the more you buy, the further you drift from what actually matters. Stopping consumption isn't an act of frugality, it's an act of exorcism. You've been programmed to obey impulse and call it freedom. The system doesn't want you to think, it wants you to click, to confuse self-worth with same-day shipping, to turn anxiety into cashback. Everything is designed to monetize your wounds, to convert your emptiness into a payment plan. They say you lack discipline. The truth is, you're overdosing on stimulation. Addiction isn't in the product, it's in the promise. And those promises were never meant to be kept, especially the ones marketing made about who you should be. Picture a graveyard of forgotten things, shelves hiding shame, clothes with tags still on, books unread, courses unfinished. Every item is a monument to the illusion that, this time, I'll become who I need to be. But you never do, because you were never present when you chose. You were tired, lonely, unseen. Buying was just a way to run from the ache you didn't know how to name. The best strategy to stop buying what you'll never use is to face what you've never dared to feel. You don't need one more thing, you need a reason. You need. Why now? Because the collapse is no longer subtle. It's loud, in the maxed out closets, the rising debts, the unopened boxes. We're drowning in the symbols of who we never became, surrounded by packaging pretending to be purpose. The excess no longer hides the emptiness, it reveals it. Buying has become a modern ritual of denial, and we're paying with our soul. The cost isn't financial, it's existential. I was there too, hoarding promises in checkout carts, mistaking acquisition for evolution, until I woke up and realized what I truly needed didn't come in a box. I didn't need more things. I needed fewer lies. Marketing doesn't sell products. It sells edited versions of you, polished shadows of who you think you should be. Every ad is a distorted mirror, a carefully curated hallucination of the identity you've been conditioned to crave. Desire isn't born, it's injected, installed through repetition, algorithmic hypnosis, and artificial scarcity. You don't want the shoes, you want to belong. You don't want the makeup, you want to be seen in a way that heals a rejection buried in childhood silence. Consumption is an emotional language, and most people are fluent in neediness, but this language comes with a grammar of self-sabotage. You were taught to treat loneliness with fast shipping, to deal with frustration by changing your outfit, to measure your worth in the number of items you own. You think you choose, but you are being chosen. Each scroll is a trap. Each notification is a trigger. It's not that you lack self-control. It's that you're under constant emotional assault disguised as opportunity. Buy now is not an offer. It's a nervous system attack. Inside you, a scared child is holding the credit card. A child who learned that pleasing others was the only way to be loved, who believed that value could be worn, that presence could be purchased, that love had to be earned through things. That child is still choosing for you, still clicking add to cart in search of validation, and the system knows it. That's why it doesn't market to adults. It markets to trauma. Modern consumption is a negotiation with your most wounded self, and you only stop buying what you don't need when you finally start listening to what that child has been trying to say all along. It's not about killing desire. It's about reclaiming sovereignty over it. Because manipulated desire is a virus. It infects your identity, erodes your sense of worth, and turns you into a carrier of perpetual dissatisfaction. The real strategy isn't willpower, it's self-knowledge, because the one who knows themselves cannot be sold. Buying is a trance. You're not choosing, you're reacting, numbed by a carefully engineered sequence of sensory manipulations, lights, sounds, urgency, dopamine. It's a guided descent into forgetfulness. You enter the site with a question and exit with a debt. No decision, just hypnosis. The machine doesn't want you awake. It wants you obedient. Thoughtful people don't buy. Desperate ones do. The entire economy is fueled by your unguarded impulses. The logic of consumption is a logic of acceleration. There's never time to reflect, never space to feel. You're shoved into the next item, the next offer, the next fix. Not because you need it, but because stillness would force you to face the hollowness beneath the habit. The culture of overconsumption thrives on keeping you emotionally unstable. It feeds off your boredom, your anxiety, your doubt. Every product is a promise of instant relief. But the pain it tries to soothe is symbolic, not material. What you hunger for is not another object, but a moment of meaning. This trance is maintained through neurochemical loops. You've been trained to associate micro-rewards with control, success, validation. But the pleasure fades. The emptiness returns stronger. So you buy again, and again. Not because you want to, but because silence has become unbearable. Overconsumption is the new avoidance. It's how you escape the intimacy of your own presence. Stopping isn't about saving money. It's about breaking the spell. It's about regaining the lucidity that was stolen by excess. And here's the cruel twist. The system rewards your loss of control. It calls you a loyal customer, offers you perks, upgrades, fake status. But it's all just a polished cage. You're not a client. You're a captive. A hostage thanking its captor with 5-star reviews. What you call a reward is actually a leash. And as long as you confuse stimulation with freedom, you'll keep dancing for your chains. The real strategy begins before the impulse, before the craving, before the click. It begins with the eyes, because whoever controls your gaze controls your actions. And the system knows this. That's why it hunts your attention like a predator. But you are not prey. You are the gatekeeper. And your first act of defiance is refusing to look blindly, to observe with surgical precision, to dismantle the illusion at its root. When your gaze changes, desire loses its grip. And when desire weakens, the machine begins to die. Most purchases are made in altered states of consciousness: fatigue, anxiety, loneliness, euphoria. The first strategy is to map these states, make them visible, build an emotional blueprint of your triggers, not to resist them, but to understand them. Every urge carries a hidden message. I feel unseen. I feel small. I need to prove I exist. Translating these signals is the beginning of liberation, because once pain is named, it loses its disguise. And without disguise, manufactured desire starves. The second strategy is the ritual of delay. The system feeds on your urgency. It creates the illusion of now or never. But time is your ally. Build space between want and action. One rule: never buy on the day you want. Write it down. Wait 48 hours. Revisit. Watch what changes. Real desire matures. Fake desire dissolves. This is your filter. Time as the scalpel of truth. The pause is where consciousness lives. The third strategy is brutal. Visit the graveyard, open the closets. Touch what you forgot. Look your consumption in the face. Every unused item is a scar, a souvenir from when illusion made a fool of you. Revisit them. Name the mistake. Let it teach you. Guilt transforms into insight, and once you learn from excess, you no longer need to suffer to grow. Excess becomes a mirror, and the mirror becomes the cure. You don't need another technique. You need a new vow. Compulsive buying isn't just behavioral, it's betrayal of self. Every time you buy what you don't need, you abandon your truth. You go silent. You sell yourself. Stopping the cycle requires more than discipline. It requires detox. Not financial, but symbolic. It's time to cleanse your psychic body of urgency, comparison, and need, the poisons injected by the machine. Begin with silent renunciation. Pick one item, any item, the one that lied the loudest. Hold it, touch it, whisper, "I don't need to believe this anymore." Then let it go. Donate it. Release it. Not for the object, but for the idea it carried. Each conscious release is microsurgery on your colonized self. Freedom begins with emptiness, not as punishment, but as reverence for truth. Emptiness isn't lack, it's potential, the space where sovereignty returns. Next, ritualize the word no. A conscious no is a shield, a line in the sand. Say no to the urgency, to the false craving, to the manipulated longing. Say it with power. Create a sacred space for your rejections, a list, a box, an altar. Make your refusal visible. Because when the invisible becomes tangible, it becomes memory, structure, strength. And strength isn't about always resisting. It's about remembering who you are when the system tries to make you forget. Finally, choose a new symbol. An object that promises nothing, that does nothing. A stone, a candle, a piece of wood. Place it where you can see it. Every time a false desire comes, look at it. Let it remind you, I am already enough. The cravings will still come, but now they will meet resistance. Roots and consumption will no longer be anesthesia. It will become choice. The final purchase you need to make is invisible, and it's not for sale. It's a vow, a severing of the old code that told you more is the answer, that things can complete you, that shopping is salvation. Every compulsive buy was an attempt to reclaim a lost part of yourself. But identity can't be bought. It must be remembered. And it only reveals itself when the noise stops, when the hunger fades, when you stop searching outside for what has always been silently screaming within. This is not minimalism. It's not about aesthetic restraint or curated scarcity. It's about reclaiming dominion over your reality. Treat every item as a guest, not a hostage, not an invader. Choose what enters your space with reverence, not reactivity. True wealth is measured not by what you acquire, but by what you no longer chase. Financial freedom begins with emotional liberation. And emotional liberation begins the moment you say, I don't need this to feel alive. You'll still be targeted, daily. The system won't stop trying to seduce you. But now you carry an invisible weapon, clarity. And clarity is resistance. Clarity is a shield. Clarity is a blade. Because no one can manipulate a self that has returned to itself. No algorithm can corrupt a soul that no longer craves illusions. And no brand can monetize someone who stopped outsourcing their worth. If this video pierced something inside you, leave a mark. Write in the comments the name of one object you're ready to release. Share this ritual with someone still trapped in the trance. And subscribe if you want to keep fighting this invisible war with us. This channel is not content, it's a trench, and you just opened your eyes. The final purchase is the one you never make.